Hi everyone, I'm Claire. Welcome to your practice. Today we're going to be combining a short flow with a meditation. For some people, myself included, I find meditation a little bit easier once we've moved the body. Same with relaxation. So give this a try today and see if it benefits you at all. If moving your body and then coming to a place of stillness actually has a bigger effect, or maybe not. We're all a little bit different. So seeing if it works for you. We're going to start lying down on your back in Shavasana. Feet come forwards, head towards the back. Arms by the sides, palms up. Get any little fidgets or wiggles out of your body. Maybe just give the shoulders a little shrug. Spread out the fingers, spread out the toes. Let's start today's practice with 3 big sighs. So we're going to inhale through the nose. We're going to take a big exhale through the mouth. So a nice long inhale through the nose. Fill up as much as you can. Big sigh out through the mouth. 2 more, inhale. A big sigh out. One more inhale. And a big sigh. And then closing the mouth and just having a deep breath, maybe not quite as deep as we just did. And I'm going to invite you now to draw all of your attention onto your breath. So your mind is focused. You're watching every inhale and every exhale. And try to pretend that you're extremely interested in the details of your own breath. Like it's something that really intrigues you. You're really, really curious. Try and apply this level of fascination to the manner in which you're watching your breath. And when your mind wanders away, just bring it back. Become absorbed with the details of your own breathing. Let's start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Notice how quickly your mind shifted, probably, from your breath onto the movement. And bring the mind back onto the breath, but keep the movement going. And this time try and keep your mind on the breath as you start to bring in movement of your wrists and your ankles. Keep your mind on your breath as you slowly draw your arms up overhead and push your tailbone down away from you so it feels like your spine just got a lot longer. Movement and focus even still on the breath, not on the movement. And then bring your knees into the chest, maybe one at a time, maybe together. Draw them in tight. Focus is still on your breath. And then let the breath and the movement just become the same thing. Everything is connected. So as you have the knees to the chest here, you can rock side to side, forwards, backwards, or just any natural movements that come to you. But everything is in tune, in line with the breath. So the breath, your breath, is your own rhythm. And we start to have a little bit of unity here. Movement, breath, mind, everything is working together. Keep that unity, that connection as you start to bring yourself to seated. You can do that gently, or you can rock a few times forwards, backwards. Take a cross-legged seat. If cross-legged is uncomfortable, just something else that feels more natural for you. Bring your hands to prayer at your heart centre, and I invite you here just to take a moment to think about what quality you want to invite in today to your breath, to your movement and to your mind. So what do you need? Do you need to calm down? Do you need to energize? Do you need to feel grounded, secure, peaceful? Do you need to feel at home in your own body? Do you need to reconnect with yourself? Do you need to find some time out from your day? Whatever it is, there's no good or bad intention, no good or bad quality. Just be honest with yourself about what you're going to embody as we start to breathe and move again. Embodying that word, blink the eyes open, let's come into a tabletop position. Take your time to arrive in a place with the hands under the shoulders and the knees under your hips. And the hands and knees are a little bit closer than we might think. And let's just start to move into cat-cows, nice and slow. With the breath, inhale when you look up and drop the belly, and exhale when you round your spine and pull the belly button up. We're going to continue these cat-cows, and if you've done this a million times before, close your eyes and invite in whatever that word was just then, that quality. What do you need from these cat-cows? So, for example, I could do these cat-cows in a way that feels really secure and grounding. I could do these cat-cows in a way that feels uplifting and free. I could do these cat-cows in a way that makes me feel like I'm paying attention. So whatever it is that you're doing, we're all doing the same movement, but you have your own purpose, your own reason. And then bring that into the breath. Bring it into your mind, bring it into your body. And if you need to add any side-to-side movements, any belly rolls, any rocking forwards and backwards, then you can do. Okay, from here, opening the eyes if they're closed, and turn your hands back to point towards your knees. Now, some people struggle to take this all the way back, so if that's you, just go as far as you can and pause there. Fingers towards the knees, bend your elbows so the elbows feel like they're coming back in towards you a little bit, and keep the bent elbows. Just take a couple of cat-cows, but keep your elbows bent. You're really going to want to straighten them up a bit when you round the spine. Just keeping the elbows bent here. You might feel this really nice stretch in the forearms. You don't have to push these cat-cows to your end range in your spine. You can keep them nice and gentle. Okay. And then just carefully release your hands back to face the front. And turn your hands so the backs of the hands are on the floor. And the fingers are pointing in towards the middle of your mat. So fingers point to each other, the palms face up. And you can shift a little bit of weight. If that's too much weight going through the hands and the wrists, then just shift back a little bit and put more weight through the knees. And you can just take the tiniest of little circles here. You can maybe bend the elbows out to the side and bring them back up. And then just flip your palms. So So the palms are down, but the fingers are still facing in. Shifting the weight if you can. Bend the elbows out to the sides a couple of times and lift back up. And really let some of that movement happen in your shoulder blades. Let the shoulder blades come together and apart. A couple more. Okay. Turn your fingers so they point out to the edges of your mat and walk them out further. Palms on the mat, fingers on the floor. Shift the weight side to side through the shoulders. And then drag your hands in so the wrists almost touch underneath you. Fingers are spread. Draw some circles here. So when you look down at your hands, you're taking up as much space as you can with the 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. And you're really just drawing circles that only feel right for you. So that might be quite small, might be quite big. And then just allow your hands to walk a little bit further forward. Push as if you're trying to lift your knees off. So I'm actually going to lift my knees a couple of times to show you what I mean. So you're really trying to push down through the hands as if you're trying to lift your knees. But try not to round your upper back too much. So see if you can maybe lift the knees a couple of times, pushing through the hands. And then tuck your toes, push through the hands, come up to down dog. Keep that sensation of pushing. And it's up to you here if you want to just walk the legs out a little bit, but we don't need to push the heel back down to the floor, it's unnecessary. So just little bends of the knees. Keep your hips really lifting up and don't collapse in the shoulders here, keep them strong. Walk your hands backwards, and then as you take your hands backwards, now we're going to put the heels down, come onto flat feet, and sit on an imaginary chair. Walk your fingertips forwards, drop the head. So really imagine that chair behind you that you're trying to sit down onto. And on your fingertips here, either just stay. It almost feels like I'm trying to walk my fingertips away from me. Or you can just add a little wiggle, side to side. Walk it forwards into your downwards facing dog. Take your time. Keeping a bend in the knees in down dog. Spread your fingers, lift the hips. And we're going to cross the right foot over the left. So we're still in down dog. You might need to step the left foot in a bit. Cross the legs. They'll naturally straighten up a little bit more now, but really get that straight spine. So you can keep that bend in the knees. And then swap the crossing. Left foot is going to cross over the right. Again, bend your knees and push the hips up. Push through the hands. You're still connecting to the floor, not collapsing into your shoulders. Release into down dog and walk your feet towards your hands at the top. Ragdoll at the front. So again, sit on that imaginary chair. Really sit back, rib cage on the legs, hands opposite elbows, head releases, sway side to side. Put your hands on your shins from here. And before we come up, keep the knees bent and lengthen your spine. And then keep that length in your spine and drag your hands up the legs, come up to standing. We're just going to do that a couple more times. So the hands are on the legs. You're going to keep the spine long, sit back and draw your hands all the way down to your ankles and come all the way back up. And again with the breath. So we can exhale as we go down. And we can inhale as we come up. Exhale down. Inhale up. One more. Really sit back. Exhale. Sitting all the way back. Hands to your ankles. Inhale. Lift you up. Lift your hands all the way up. Inhale. Exhale. Sit back and this time fold. Take your hands to the floor. We're going to step straight into downwards facing dog. Feet step back. lift the hips up high. From down dog, bring your right knee down to the floor, underneath the hip, and you can take your right shin just slightly off to the right if you want to. Left arm lifts up over your left ear. So think about the bicep coming all the way to the ear. Left leg is stretching out behind you. Optional if you want to lift the left leg up and hold. And just imagine you're trying to get longer in the left side of your body. Push your hips forwards. If you want to, we can turn this into a wild thing. We can straighten out the right leg, bring the left toes behind you, keeping the shoulder over the wrist. Push up and open up the chest. Come back down, downwards facing dog. Same on the second side. Slide the left knee forward so it's underneath the left hip. Right leg back. Sweep that right arm so the bicep comes right up by your ear. Get any hair out of the way like mine. Find that length. And then rather than letting your bum stick back, push it forwards. Imagine you're trying to almost stick the front of your hips forwards. If you want to lift the right leg up, you can. Wild thing if you want to. If you're coming to wild thing, straighten left leg, right toes to the floor behind you, shoulder stays over the wrist, open up the chest, come back down, downwards facing dog. From down dog, let's take child's pose, knees together or apart, up to you. Maybe you're on fingertips, maybe hands are down. Okay, from child's pose, lifting your head just for a moment. Take your right arm and slide it under the left arm along the floor. Drop the right shoulder. And just take this twisted child's pose. If you want, the left hand can walk over your head a little bit towards the right side of the mat. If it's too much in the shoulder, then don't do that. Just maybe a little bit, maybe an inch or so is probably enough. And swap it over, right arm forwards, left arm under the right. If you want to walk the right hand a little bit over to the left, then you can. And release, come back to child's pose. Roll your way up to seated. We're going to come into our meditation, so I want you to very quickly make yourself comfortable. I'm going to remain kneeling so that I can speak. If you prefer to sit, legs crossed, if you prefer to even quickly grab a cushion to sit on or to lie on your back, or if you've got a sofa nearby, lie on your sofa. With meditation, we want to be comfortable, but not too comfortable. Too comfortable, there's that risk of falling asleep, which isn't the goal. But not comfortable enough means that you're only going to be thinking about how uncomfortable you are. So just find a place where there's a level of comfort, but there's also probably going to be some discomfort as we sit still. So lying down will be more comfortable, obviously, than sitting. You pick. Take a moment to find a place. Whenever you have found that place, whenever you feel comfortable, I just want you to close your eyes and to observe how you feel. And I know that's such a broad statement, but I mean right now, energy levels wise, what has that short amount of movement done? How has it shifted stuff around inside of you? How does your body feel? You might not have the words to describe that. It might be just becoming aware of that feeling without limiting it to words. So you can have a feeling and you don't have to put it into a box of describing it. You can just be aware of it. So eyes are closed. Can you still feel the energy running around your body that is a result of the movement that we just took? When I say energy, it doesn't have to be very fast moving energy, not explosive energy. It's just energy or prana. Just observe. We're going to now take a very simple meditation. It's not going to last for too long. We're going to come back to what we did at the start of the practice. So begin to watch your own breath. And one of the ways I like to think about this or describe this to people, this sort of fascination, this sort of watching of your breath, is if you imagine that you're sat in a cafe or public place and you become really interested in someone that you see on the street or nearby. We all do it. We call it people watching. We're all aware. But we have those moments in our lives where we're just watching someone we don't know. We're not even judging them. We're not judging them as good or bad, or we're not even that interested in what they're doing. And all of a sudden, you almost realize that you've been absorbed in watching them for a while. You almost snap out of it. A little bit like a daydream, except you're watching something that's actually there in front of you. Maybe you can remember a time when you did that. When you did that kind of people watching, when you became so fully absorbed in watching that person, watching that situation, that you almost forgot that time was passing, or if someone spoke to you, maybe you didn't quite hear what they said. That's the level of focus, of being absorbed, that level of curiosity, of fascination that we are trying to apply to our own breathing. So see if you can watch your breath in the same way that you might watch people just walking up and down the street as you would sit in a cafe. Become a little bit more interested in the intricacies of your breath. If you're quite a visual person, it might help you to give your breath a colour and to follow that journey of the breath as it comes in and goes back out. Anytime your mind wanders away, bring it back to the breath. try and imagine that the breath is at the forefront of your mind. You might have a little bit of awareness of other things like me talking, maybe noises around you, maybe sensations, but the breath is still at the forefront. It's the most important thing. If you imagine a portrait photograph, the person is focused and in detail. And then perhaps the background of that photograph is blurred, but you can still tell there is a street, there are buildings, there are trees, but it's all blurred and the focus is this one person. We've all seen photos that look like that. See if you can do that with your breath. The breath is at the forefront, it's clear, it's detailed. And whilst we maybe can't stop other things, they are blurred and they are in the background. And just like a camera, if you allow your mind to shift focus onto something else, then that becomes the main thing in focus and the breath will drift away into the blurred background. So we've got to keep bringing the focus like a camera back onto the breath. If your mind has shifted focus, if it's drifted away, without getting annoyed, without any emotion at all, you just bring it back. And then you can start to notice the other things. The noises. Temperature on your skin. Notice your clothing, your jewellery, anything that touches your skin right now. Notice where your body is collapsing a little bit because we've been still. And start to breathe some space into those parts of the body, maybe slightly altering how you're lying or how you're sitting. Keeping your eyes closed, just move with your breath, exactly like we did at the start of our movement part of this practice. If you're sat up like me, you might even just rock side to side. It can be tiny, it can be quite big, it can be your head, your whole body, your shoulders. But just imagine that you're moving to music, but this music is just your breath. Bring the quality back in that you thought of at the start and just see if that's still relevant, and if it is, keep it with you, and if it's not, find something that's going to be relevant for the next part of your day. A quality that you can embody in every action that you take. You could act from a place of kindness. You could act from a place of looking after, number one, a bit of self-care. You could do every action from a place of being slow, taking your time. You could do every action with a sense of enjoyment, whatever it is. Let's conclude our practice. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart center. Breathe into those hands. So just really imagine that as your thumbs are pressing in to your chest, when you breathe, you can feel that expansion. Movement and stillness for me are intertwined. Our ability to stay still and be peaceful is all mixed up in our ability to move in many different ways and feel great in our bodies. And I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of both today. Namaste.